Hey, good morning. It's Louisa Munson from the Barefoot Broadcast. How you doing? It's the end of the week. I can see we've got people in the chat room and watching. We've got the Global Nobles joining us straight away saying, hola, bon dia todos from Lisbon. Been catching up on some of the live shows we missed this week. And they are powerful. Just amazing, Louisa. Thank you so much. I'm guessing that's Amy, but it could be Greg as well. But thank you so much for joining us. We've got lovely Sarah Taylor sat in I never know what it's called, like off stage at the moment, getting ready. Going to bring her on in just a second. You might remember her from other shows, in particular the ones that we've done with Rick, the Rick and Sarah duo, which is very, very good. And we're talking today about how to pick yourself up again after an emotional fall. Now, it's Amy that's listening. Hey, it's girls today, I think. So yeah, I've been thinking, I'm pretty sure most of us have had a fall at some point, not necessarily a tripping over, but an actual emotional fall where things haven't quite gone as we were hoping, as we were expecting. And I know I've languished quite a bit in the past when things haven't quite gone as I was expecting them to. So yeah, Sarah's going to come on and we're going to talk a little bit about why it's a subject she's qualified to talk about. And why we wanted to talk about this together. It was, we had a little conversation off screen. What should we talk about? Bandied around a load of different ideas. We've also got Owen joining us from Northern Portugal. Hey, Owen, how you doing, friend? And a little bit of chat. Everyone's saying hello to each other, which is really nice. I love that about this community. And the funny thing is, actually, Amy and Owen and then Sarah and I, we're all expats. We're all living in a different country from our origin. Our original country, and I'm pretty sure we've gone through some falls there as well, because it's quite a involved process. So anyway, the whole purpose of this really is to create more freedom for ourselves, to create a better sense of ease and joy, and to just feel like we're having a great time. Essentially, I mean, how does it get much better than that, really? So yeah, let's open our hearts and our minds and see what comes up. Please do chat in the chat room. We love it. We love to bring all of you in. So let's just see where this goes. Anyway, and then some. He's saying, I think that's in relation to falling over and probably picking himself up again. But anyway, let's bring Sarah on now. Lovely, lovely Sarah.
Good morning.
Sarah, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I always quite like the end of the week because then I think, ooh, Saturday, Sunday, we can stay in bed for a bit longer than usual anyway. And Mr. M, he's just done his last show. And so from now on in, he feels like he's already started his weekend. So Fridays are always good. And we've had some good topics this week. We've been talking about what's really important and why we might get a little bit uncomfortable with manifestation, and then depression. I mean, I've been depressed. Have you?
I feel like I can say that I've felt depressed, but I don't think I've truly been depressed because, as I said yesterday on the show, even though I've been through a lot of things that have been extraordinarily difficult, extreme grief, a lot of different scenarios. I always felt like for me they were situational and there was an end to them. And I feel like depression is when a true depression is when you don't feel any hope. And I guess I always feel hope. So, I really, I have a couple people in my family who really do suffer from depression. So I'm not saying that people don't. I think the labels, maybe
No,
need to.
I would agree with you. I mean, I can think of times where situations have definitely got me down. And then actually, I think most of the things that have happened have been situations that have got me down that haven't gone quite as I was hoping. Um, and that's always interesting, isn't it? Like, when I got together with Carl, he introduced me to the idea of, well, it's kind of like a failed expectation. Like your
Yeah.
expectations weren't quite set right, or, you know, all sorts of different interesting things. We've got Gillian joining us as well, saying hi to you both and
Hi,
all.
Jillian.
We're getting a nice little community here. So, where do you want to start with this massive subject, Sarah?
Well, I think, like we were discussing, it's really about because I've wrote down a few things, obviously, because I knew we were going to be
Yeah,
talking about this today, and I do
yeah.
have a few little tools in the toolbox that I have
Good.
learned
Where
that
did you get your
might work.
toolbox from?
In the past, I did do a lot of. I used to go to a lot of. I used to teach access consciousness classes. I don't do it anymore, but I still use a lot of the tools.
Yep.
Um, and I mean, they're just if I guess the people that I really speak to are not the ones who are truly in need of a professional, um, psychologist or somebody to uh, bring them out of an actual depression. I
Mhm.
want to talk to the people who just they really don't feel like they're in that place, but they're just down. They
Mhm.
just know that they need to pick themselves up, but they can't figure out how to do it. And I think a lot of it starts with the loops of the story that we tell in our heads about what is
Yeah.
going on, you know,
Yeah.
and how right we want to be about our story. It's like this is what's going on right now, and this is exactly what's going on, and this is what they're thinking, and this is what I'm thinking, and this loop.
Yeah. Yes, I really like that. The loops that we want to tell ourselves about our story. And I noticed you mentioned like the desire to be right. One of
Hmm.
you said to me backstage, like, do I want to be free or do I want to be right? The funny thing
Hmm.
is, like when I first met Carl, he taught me, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? And that stuck with me because I realized that a lot of my life I'd been reacting to things not going as I thought they should, and then I was in a massive huff. Um,
Yeah.
and that might be a bit sort of unkind to myself, to to describe some of the situations I've been in as me having a little huff because things didn't turn out as I was expecting. But there was some truth in it as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and
I
it would
think
be silly to throw it out with the bathwater.
I well, I think it's important to not judge yourself when
Mm,
you're feeling something. It's not automatically wrong just because it's not all like daisies and loop de loop.
yeah,
Everything isn't skipping around and la 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 la. I mean, this is life. We're here to have an experience,
yeah.
and we're here to learn. And one question you can ask, what am I learning right now?
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it?
What am I learning right now that if I actually just, or what's the lesson in this? Now, that's a really sucky question when something bad is happening. I'm thinking about,
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you a little, it's kind of gross, but I'm going to tell you this little
please
story.
do.
So, Dan and I went to Mexico for a vacation a long time ago from Canada. So I'm from Canada, so that's usually where people vacation is in that hemisphere.
Mhm.
So we go to Mexico. We'd saved up for this trip. It was supposed to be fabulous. The second day I was there, I ate something that I shouldn't have eaten. I mean, it basically I got food poisoning. And then I go to the hospital. Oh, you've got parasites. You've got bacteria. I was like, parasites.
Ooh,
What?
yeah,
What? And I'm in the hospital, in a Mexican hospital where I got treated very well. But I looked up at Dan and I said, "What's right about this I'm not getting?" Like the
yeah,
whole trip, I ended up like sick or in the hospital. And then but to actually ask what's right about this I'm not getting while
yeah,
you're like in that situation, it almost seems to be sarcasm, you
yeah.
know. but it needs to be said in a spirit of curiosity,
Yeah.
not with the
And a
sarcasm.
sense of fun as well, presumably.
Yeah, and how much fun can you have while you're, you know
Well, can I ask, what did you come up with? Like, when you were thinking, what's right about this that I'm not quite getting?
we both just started laughing because it was just it seemed like such a ludicrous question,
Yeah.
but look what it created,
Yeah.
because I certainly wasn't laughing before that.
Yeah. Yeah, so, what I'm getting there is it created a sense of lightness and a moment of
Mhm.
freedom from the trauma of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because I mean, I could, the old story. If you get up in the morning and you stub your toe, you're like, ah, I just stubbed my toe. What an awful one. And then the next thing, you break a glass, and then
Yeah.
something else happens. We're creating all of that
Mm.
storyline in some way, but it's important not to blame yourself
Yeah.
as well. So it's just the judgment about things, the judgment about what's going on, and then judging yourself for judging it.
Yes.
And it turns into this loop of like, they suck, I suck, everybody sucks.
Yeah. So, I really like how you specified that mind loop. So you're judging the situation and
Yeah.
then judging yourself for having judged the situation.
Yeah, because you're supposed to be this positive, you know, you're getting on here, you're doing show. I'm talking about you or anyone, right? But it's like you're supposed to be, the person bringing light to
Mm.
the world, the person that's going to show people that there's a different way, and we we get in these, it's not about perfection. It's
No.
about noticing when you are doing what you're doing. It's about noticing it and saying, "Oh, like, good one, me.
Yeah.
I see what's going on here. Would I like to be free or would I like to be right?"
Ooh. Glad I timestamped that one as I was writing that down. I'm gonna make that into a nice clip. That's beautiful. Say that again.
So, nice one, me.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
it's interesting that I'm judging everybody around me and I'm judging myself for doing it.
Yep.
Now, would I like to be free or do I want to keep doing this or would I like to be right? You
Yeah.
know, what's right about it I'm not getting.
Yes.
What's right about this? What's right about this? Okay, I'm like pissed off right now. Well, is it okay to be pissed off?
Mhm.
Or is it always wrong? I mean, what if it's
I
okay?
I actually think it's like, I know there's lots of, sort of like Pollyanna people out there that are like, "Ooh, you must be happy all day long." And we were joking about it a little bit yesterday with the idea of the light
Love
and the
and
dark days.
light.
Yeah, love and light. Ooh, love and light. Um, I think it's okay to have a very real, experience, and
Hmm.
to really feel things and, like you say, notice
Yeah.
things, notice when things don't feel right. Um,
Well, and
and
like,
you've got a choice of whether you wanna stay there or not.
right. So one of the things that I did write down is like, okay, you can say to yourself, what is this right now? Like,
Yeah,
let's say you're having a feeling, and this is just an example of a tool, like of questions that you can
yeah.
ask just to sort of help get you unstuck. So, what is this?
Mhm.
And then just sit with that. What is this? And
Yeah.
then, can I change it? Can I actually change this? And then get a sense of what that is. And people who know how to douse their body or, get
Mm.
it. Some people get a yes, no. And if you don't even believe in being able to do that, just still ask the question and see what just it feels like. What does it
Mm.
feel like? Can I change it? If you get a no, if you're like, no, I can't change this. Okay, would I like to be free now from this? Can I put it on pause for a little
Yeah.
while? If you can change it, if yes, how can I change it? What
Mm.
is it? What can I choose that could change this? And the most important one is, would I actually like to change it? Am I willing to change it?
Yeah.
Or do I want to sit in this sad soup for a while longer? Or
I love
mad soup or whatever you want to call it.
Did you call that a suit or a soup?
Soup.
Because
It's
both
like
work.
soup. Yeah, or tar, you know.
Yeah. I love that. I just want to bring James in because I can see, well, he's calling himself Ames. I'm guessing it's James.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to call you Ames just in case. But anyway, Ames is saying, hello all, been meaning to pop in, but often need to go right after GMP. So I'm happy to be here today and may get called away. Let's just see what happens. That's
Yeah.
kind of how we do the show, is I kind of let's just see where it goes. He's saying, I often refer to this state as being in a funk. Yep.
Yeah.
The need to be right is an ego position and generally a fear position. Yeah, I would agree with that. And can make it more difficult to connect with our happiness. Plus, two, life happening for us, not to us.
Mhm.
Then he's put in notice, then choose.
Yep.
The state is okay if it's okay with you.
Yes.
Choose, then act. And the slug is a J. So your
Oh, I
aim.
see it. I see the J.
Oh,
The
right. Yeah,
yellow
I
thing.
get it
Yeah.
now. I get it. So, yes, that is James. And the yellow slug or the banana slug is the J for James. Okay. Thank you so much for that.
That's
That
exactly
was
it.
nice. Thank you, James.
Yeah.
I noticed in how you were sort of articulating all this, Sarah, that really what you're doing is having a conversation with yourself, and
Yes.
quite a great one, almost like you're giving yourself the kind parenting that would almost have been a dream to grow up with, like somebody that has got your
Mhm.
back, is looking at you kindly, giving you the opportunity to see for yourself where you might be doing yourself out of your own power. And
Yeah.
it's a different voice because often when we're in, like, something's gone wrong, we're in that kind of, oh, can't believe it. And often we're in that voice, aren't we? That kind of belittling voice, or no voice at all if we've allowed it to kind of crush us down.
Mhm. Like, do you sometimes feel, I know I sometimes will hear myself uh talking, and this is mostly with anger when I'm angry.
Yeah.
And then like scary Sarah is turned on.
Ooh.
Scary Sarah. So it's, and that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm a danger to people,
Mm.
you
You
know.
mentioned that yesterday. Not that
Yeah.
you're a danger to people. What was your exact words?
Well, like not fit for human consumption
That
is
was what
kind
you
of what I
said.
say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so one thing that I did want to bring up is like, yes, it's okay to stay in your emotion.
Yep.
And I'm saying this for myself too right now. I'm not saying like I don't do any of this perfectly. I really don't. I just keep, it's like meditation, you're doing well and then you veer off and you're like, "Oh, let me focus back on this." And I think that this is the same thing. It's not about perfection. It's
Yeah.
about noticing when we're going off track,
Mm.
calling it out for, what is this? Can
Yeah.
I change it? Would I like to change it? And then saying, like you would to a friend, "Hey, being kind to
Yeah.
yourself and not doing too much damage to others while we're like
Mm.
indulging is what I call it, and we're indulging in this emotion
Mm.
that, so can you have the emotion and still be kind? If you
Yeah.
can't, then I mean, I sort of stay away from people if I know that I can't. Like, I'm going to be apologizing for the next 3 days if I go around these people, anybody, because I'm going to say something that's going to be, you know, apologizable for.
Yeah.
Did I just make up that word?
Maybe, and that, but I'm sure everyone understood it. We've all thought
Yeah.
that. Well, I wonder how to apologizable. Yeah, I get that totally.
Yeah. And it's a kindness to me
Mm.
to actually give myself the space I need so that I don't seem or be unkind to other people. Now, that being said, like I I don't feel like purposely. I don't think anyone really purposely feels like they hurt others, or
Mm.
because that's all their perception too of how they receive you. you know
Mm.
but but I recognize that I need space so that I can sort it out, so that I can see if I'm willing to choose something else, because whatever we're doing, it's contagious.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to I don't want to put what I'm feeling out there too much on people who might not need to pick that up, because I know what it's like
Yeah.
to feel. I can't even go into a mall and I feel like sometimes I leave and I feel
Mm,
like I've got all this energy coming at me, and it's just like, oh, now I'm just, talk about depressed. I almost
mm,
feel that depressed sometimes. So I don't even know where I feel like I'm just babbling on here, but it's really about just being nice to yourself. You're having something going on.
mm.
Um, Maybe you don't want to change it yet.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to change it, just try to be kind to yourself and others while you're just sitting with it.
Yeah.
That's sort of where I'm going with that.
I that relates to so many different things that that I
Mm,
can like actually like think of examples of. In particular, like just you talking about like shopping malls. There's a place in the UK where Carl and I used to just walk to with our eldest Digby, who you know, and little baby Minnie. And we could only ever go there for about half an hour at a time. And we'd say, "Oh my God, Trago Mills," which is the name of this place. "Oh my God, the Trago Mills effect is taking hold." We would
oh,
start to feel we'd have to get out. So we'd like make a very sort of
hmm,
incisive in and then a straight out because it was just too much. You
yeah.
felt the energy of everyone. And the kids are great barometer. You know, the moment they freak
Hmm.
out, it's like, okay, there's too much going on.
There's
Um,
your sign. Your sign.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They're quite helpful as signs go. But, I mean, your body is also signing that. I
Mm-hmm.
realized, I've had a frozen shoulder for a couple of months. I've been trying to get to the
Mm,
bottom of it. Now, I did notice that it was the arm that, like, all 3 of my children have favored nursing on this side.
mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
still right at the tippy end of nursing Solomon. And and all of a sudden, so I put it around him as he has a little bit of milk, and I've fallen asleep, and I just assumed that I'd fallen asleep with my arm in a funny position, and that's why. And I've been really, I've got this frozen shoulder. I can't do anything. Got no strength. And then, in the kind of moments in between sleep and wake, this morning, I connected into this like sense of I don't know, God in me or something. Like I heard
Mm,
really talking to me and just said, "Oh, you need to love it better." And it was just so obvious. And I don't know why I hadn't actually given that shoulder any love whatsoever. And the
mm,
moment I started to chill out and give it love, I remembered this. I was like stroking it, saying, "It's okay. You've done a great job." And then all of a
mm-hmm.
sudden, I remember about 2 months ago, Solomon saying, "That's it. I'm done with milk. I don't want it anymore." And I remember having quite a reaction and thinking, "Oh, after all that time, he's just gonna give it up like it's nothing." And then it's like I've had the cold shoulder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's so weird, because, um, I realized, this arm has held my children. This arm has done a lot. It's done a hell of a lot, and all of a sudden, it's just gone really funny. But it was when I started talking lovingly to it, all of a sudden, this
Mhm.
memory came up, and so I think our bodies are really like barometers to what's going on, just like
And the
children
ju
are,
and
and
the
the
judge and the
yeah,
judgment of what's going on. Like, pain or discomfort is actually your body just dialing it up so you'll pay attention.
yeah,
So, I mean, it might sound really simple to somebody having really horrible pain, but it didn't
mhm,
start out like that.
no,
It didn't start out horrible. So it's interesting what can happen to
mm,
even a headache. So, and this is a fun little
yes,
thing to try. Um, you know, if anybody wants to try it out, the next time you
I
start
will.
feeling a headache,
Yeah,
come on, you can say, uh, "Who does this belong to?
mm,
Is this mine or is it someone else's?" But just see if it eases up for a second. when you ask that question. And then if it eases up, you can just say, okay, that's your sign that it's
Mm.
like not really yours. You're just very empathic and you're picking up on everybody's headaches from 5,000 to 5,000 miles around you, let's say, just for fun.
Yeah.
So then you could just say, okay, like I think Rick and I and you were talking about this.
Mm.
Just return to return to sender with consciousness, not with darts
Mm.
attached, but
Yeah,
just
like,
like,
get your headache out of me now.
yeah, take your headache back. This is Carl's headache. This is Dan's headache.
Yeah.
But just, it's all in the spirit of recognizing that we're creating with our point of view all the time.
Mm.
We're literally creating our reality with our point of view.
Yeah.
And even if you don't believe me, what if I'm right?
Yes.
And what if I'm wrong? Like, don't believe anything I say,
Mm.
and don't believe anything you say to yourself either.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a loop like this.
Mm.
Like if you're in a state of true being where you're feeling, you know what? I'm calm, I feel balanced, I feel free, then you can probably believe um, the things that you're coming up with.
Yeah.
When any decision I've ever made, where I've been not balanced when I made the decision, that's when I'm doing the good one, you. Uh, you're
Yeah.
you're cute, but you're not that bright sometimes. Um, Next time,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. And I've had this happen recently to me,
Really?
where, oh yes, like just in the last week, where I had made a decision on something and I started kicking myself because it felt like it wasn't the right decision. The more time that
Mm.
went on, wasn't the right decision. And then I looked at Dan and I said, that one I'm not going to repeat. So how many decisions are we repeating that we keep kicking ourselves for, that we don't talk about learning the lesson? How many times do you have to repeat something before you get the message of, okay, I think I
Yeah.
learned that lesson now, and I'm not going to repeat that one again. I
Yes.
don't need to repeat it anymore because I got it. It's in there. Even if it went in with a drill, it's
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah. I love that. I really love like, I think that's a sense of compassion, but also it's very practical. It's like, how long are you going to punish yourself for? How long are you going to judge yourself for that?
And in the way of uh, not in a judgmental way.
Mm.
Not a like, how long am I going to punish myself for this? I'll never get it. Never. It's not that.
Yeah.
It's the piano. Can you see the piano keys? I don't know
Yeah.
what cartoon I got that from, but
No, that's beautiful.
and
Um,
maybe you need to do that.
yeah.
Maybe you need to let it out if you need to go scream somewhere, or
Mhm.
if you need to like just try not to do too much damage.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And I really liked how you said that about, doing it with kindness, because I kind of grew up in a household where shit rolled downhill. I know Carl
Yeah.
did as well. And there is the tendency for shit to roll downhill if we don't consciously take ourselves out of it.
Uh,
Um, and also recognize that, it's a very easy thing for us to do. It's in our vocabulary, it's in our waters, it's in our energies. And we have to be really conscious with that.
Louisa, when
What?
you said that just now about when the shit's rolling downhill and
Yeah,
it's easy for us to roll with it. So
yeah.
everything that doesn't allow us to see a little landing on the cliff where we
Yeah,
can hop off and watch the shit roll downhill instead of
yeah, yeah.
rolling downhill with it,
Oh, wow,
we
I
can
would love to
destroy and
watch.
uncreate all of that.
Definitely, absolutely, 100%, because I'd love to watch the shit actually roll down past me, past my kids, past my house, past everything that it could hit. That's I mean, the funny thing is, we say these things like shit rolling downhill, and there is the assumption that that is the only way it rolls. It rolls downhill to the next person, to the next person, to the next person.
So
Hadn't even
what?
occurred to me that it could just roll on by and nobody get
Yeah,
involved.
Yeah, everybody can stand well. Maybe some people like standing in the way of the shit.
Yeah, I don't.
Maybe they want a little smear on the way down the
Yeah.
hill.
Yeah, because sometimes you do. I was talking to Jay yesterday, and I know you're listening in. Um, I asked her at some point about, were you egging on life
Mhm.
sometimes just to give you that little bit of shit so you could say, right, that's it. That's it.
Mhm.
I'm now justified having a hissy fit and I'm going to go into a full on depression and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we do that, don't we?
Well, maybe it's required
Mm.
for I mean, we know we're very I think we're intelligent about what we need if we really tap into it. And sometimes we're making choices that we actually require. But logically, it doesn't seem like, "Oh, why would you do that?" Or why would you, if I were to say to somebody, if I were coaching someone and I was like, "Okay, what do you love about rolling downhill with shit?" What do you love about
Yeah.
that? And then they could say to me, "Well, what do you mean? Like, why would I love this?"
Mm.
And I have had people like, I'm not for everybody because I really do believe in owning your crap
Yeah.
and like I said, the people that I want to talk to are the ones that still feel strong enough. They've still got one foot on the ground. They're not having where they need an intervention. They're literally a person who is just being dysfunctional and they
Yeah.
know they are. They
Mm.
know they're being dysfunctional and they want to shift it.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
they want to shift it. If they
It's
don't want to shift it, then
you're not for
okay, I
yeah.
respect that.
Yeah, similarly, I want to work with people like that as well
Mhm.
because, like, almost help people that can help themselves a little bit. Because there's so many people that wanna help people that really aren't in a place to help themselves at the moment. And I do recognise that this is largely an inside job or only an inside job, and if we're lucky, we might attract great people around us that can guide us, but we can't do things for other people. We have to
No.
like
And
one of
you
our
get Go
Y
ahead, go ahead.
you've mentioned young Solomon, our 4-year-old,
Oh,
and his,
love him.
presence of mind. He's playing with something at the moment, like, where he gets really mad for no good reason. Like,
Mm.
it might be, like, he asked for peanut butter on toast, and there's a tiny little bit of butter on it as well.
Mhm.
And, yeah, I can see that would turn some people a bit cranky sometimes, and he'll growl and grouch about it. And I'll just look at him, and I'll look a little bit closer, and all of a sudden he breaks into this, like, he pisses himself laughing because he
Yeah.
knows he is just playing at it, which is what you were saying, like, he
Yeah.
he knows he can get out of it, and he's experimenting.
Well, I think I told you this. Like I I have never seen a more glorious, controlled anger in my life as I did when he was upset over something at the
Mm.
dinner table.
Yeah, it
I
was food
mean,
again, wasn't it?
he wasn't trying. And when I was this is a great example actually of you're not really trying to do damage to anyone else.
Mm,
You're holding that in, dealing with it. And when I say holding it in, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, you know that it's yours. He
mm,
owns it and
mm,
he's got to go through it. He's
yeah,
not speaking, he's not saying anything, but his brow will furrow here. And it just watching that transformation of him go into, because I have felt that
mm,
angry and
yeah.
I wasn't able to stay silent like
Mm.
he was. Like, I feel like music should play in the background right now. He was completely silent. His brow
Yes,
furrowed.
he was that angry.
He was.
Yes. Yeah, and he fell
Oh,
through perfectly, didn't he? And
it
then
was wonderful, and he came out of it, but he stopped time,
mm.
for me anyway, and I know that I shouldn't, like, think it's great that I'm watching this kid be upset, thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And the way you handled it, the way you and Carl handled it, you're just like, "Oh, yeah, you need some time right now."
Mhm,
And but you didn't make a big deal out of it. You were just like
mhm.
letting it. Anyway, I thought it was great. And
Yeah, we haven't always reacted like that, but, like, he's the 3rd kid, so it makes it a bit easier, and he does it so much, like, really, he just does it fully. It's really
it's just
true.
it's so real. Like
Mm,
I'll tell you what I enjoy. I enjoy real people.
mm.
I like people who speak in their voice that they were born with. That if they never listened to a Kardashian or a vocal burn, that they actually speak in a tone that what they were born with and that's natural. So if
Yeah.
I were talking to them in the middle of the night, do you think if you woke someone up in the middle of the night and said, "What was that noise?" that they'd answer you with one of these vocal burn voices?
I don't
Now, I'm
know.
doing judgment about that right now, but okay. I'm just saying real people. Like, who are you really? And even if you're a bit of an arsehole, I like you
I
as
love
long
how
as
you
you
said
own
that.
it.
Yeah, yeah, as long as you're completely an
Own it. Don't
arsehole.
pretend
Yeah,
you're not.
yeah.
Like if you're an arsehole and you own it, I can talk to you.
Yes. Yes. Do you know what I really like about that is how you're giving permission to be themselves. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that you like real people gives people the real opportunity to be themselves, be their authentic selves. So they're not bullshitting you.
Yeah. I feel
And that's a
safer
great
around real
luxury.
people.
Yeah. We got some comments coming in,
Oh
so I
yeah,
want to
yeah. Let's look
um
at the comments.
um uh yeah. Now this came in ages ago, and it was about you, by the way. This
Ah,
woman is brilliant.
aw, thank you.
James is saying one can never go wrong with genuine kindness to self and others.
That's
I
right.
love the invitation. Consider the possibility. That's a great. Consider the
Hmm.
possibility versus right and wrong. This
Yeah.
is Jedi stuff. Great timing as the walls of our culture are coming down. Keep up the great
Interesting
work,
point of view,
ladies.
Carl. Interesting
Yeah.
point of view.
This is induction and orientation for the new time. Oh, that's really kind of you to say so. And it's powerful, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, this is totally my jam, digging it. Haha. I was just pondering the man from Porlock. I don't know who that is, and his disruption of Coleridge's writing of Kubla Khan, and found a great response from Mr. Porlock, which is very relevant to this. Gillian, tell me more. Here it is. I am the man from Porlock. You can put blame on me. You can put the blame on me for interrupting Samuel in his joyful reverie, for it was I supplying him with all the dope he used. Hang on. That rendered him incapable, befuddled, and bemused. His epic may have been too long for most of us to bear. So, Mr. Taylor Coleridge, aren't you glad I stopped you there? I never met him in person, but I so get that sense of your young man. Right. I just need to unpack
I
this.
was gonna say, can you do that one
Beautiful.
again? Because
Yeah.
I wanna
So, um, I was just pondering the man from Porlock and his disruption of Coleridge's writing of Kubla Khan, and found a great response from Mr. Porlock, which is relevant to this. Okay, hang on. And Gillian, if you want to put it into a nutshell for us, feel free, because I might get this wrong. I might interpret this in a completely different way. Okay, so I am that man from Porlock. You can put the blame on me for interrupting Samuel in his joy, for it was I supplying him with all the dope he used that rendered him incapable, befuddled and bemused. And yes, his epic may have been too long for most of us to bear, but aren't you glad I stopped you there?
I don't
Um
get that. I don't get it at all. I'm sorry, I want to.
I do you know what? As I'm reading that, I'm wondering if that ties in with like I wonder if this is relating to like the idea of parents and their children or people in their interactions.
Oh,
Like you can put the blame on me for interrupting him in his joy, or maybe his anger or whatever he is going on about. But I was also supplying him with what he needed to do that.
Jillian did put another comment in.
Hang on. Let's have a look. The story is that Coleridge was just writing his great laudanum induced epic, and then he got interrupted and forgot. Oh, okay. So we can go into something and then completely come out of it because we kind of get drunk or befuddled in the moment of it. A bit like I've seen with my children, or sometimes like we do a pattern interrupt at home. Like, every now and again, Carl and I will fly off the handle at each other. So he was all in blame. Okay. Thank you. So like every now and again, one of us will like lose our rag, and like it's taken us years to get to this point, I have to say. It wouldn't have happened early on, that's for sure. But in
I never
recent,
lost my rag before.
haven't you? Oh my god. Well,
No,
I've
no,
lost.
I'm
Oh.
just kidding.
And then occasionally we lose our rag with each other, and then the other, like, rather than taking it personally and going, and like, yeah, but you said this, like the other just like kind of looks and then goes, and then all of a sudden we like crack up, a bit like what you were saying about how you cracked up with that question, which was, what's right about this food poisoning and parasites that I'm not quite
Yeah.
seeing? All of a sudden we have this like massive something or other, but the look from the other person, the fact that we're not going into the same state as them, is like a pattern interrupt. It stops us from going
Yeah.
on in that pattern, and we get to review it, we get to see it. And I'm very grateful that we do that for each other, and we're now able to do it for our
Yeah.
kids in a way that my mum and dad weren't able to do for me, I don't think.
Yeah. And I think we can do it for ourselves too.
Yeah.
If we
Oh
have
yeah.
these little
Oh,
tools.
that's even more powerful.
Like I said, you can ask yourself, do I want to be free?
Mhm.
Or do I want to, because does it feel free when we're in a loop? I
No.
mean, I actually, when I get sort of like in the story of something that just happened, and I'm just repeating it because we think we're using our brain logically to figure it out.
Mm,
I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out how it happened, why it happened, what's going on here.
mm,
And I need to get to the bottom of this because I'm an investigator, and I
mm.
I want to see how this occurred, because I don't want it, I don't want it to happen again. B, it's making me very unhappy. Like, whatever it is, who do I blame even? Who's
Oh
the
yeah.
blame for this? Like the
Mm,
private investigator who's looking for who to blame,
mm.
you know. And
I've
once you
definitely
figure
been that person.
yeah, and
I hate
once
to
you
say
figure
it,
out
but
who
I
to
have.
blame, it's like I've cracked the case. And
Yeah.
now everyone needs to go, okay, we all agree.
Bravo,
We all,
everyone agrees
yeah,
with you, Lisa.
it's my fault. You're right. I'm wrong. Let's go get a donut.
Yeah. And of course it doesn't happen like that, does it?
Never. It never happens like that. What it does is it keeps
Sorry, I
us
got a
in
dog trying
jail.
to break in.
Jimmy?
Yeah, Jimmy Choo.
Is it Jimmy
Trying
again?
to, yeah.
Jimmy?
You're to
Jimmy.
blame. That dog. He's trying to claw his way in.
And we also want to prove, we have this proving energy of uh right and wrong.
Yeah.
We have to see how it happened, and we have to prove, and we have to have we want other people, we walk around and we want other people to align and agree with us.
Mm,
And if they don't align and agree with us, then there's something wrong with us, or there's something wrong with them.
yeah. I see that going on, or like there's an attempt for that to go on right now in the media.
Mhm. In
Like
everything.
if you're not aligning with what I'm saying, you're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're wrong, you're bad, you should be ashamed of yourself,
Oh yeah.
and all of those things. And okay, what if I don't believe anything you say? And what if I don't believe anything I say to myself?
Mm,
And I did write something down. I'll see if I can find that. But it was um, along the idea of, uh, go ahead, Louisa. I'll find it. Say something else.
Well, I'm going to go back to the. I know it will come back because you're so clear. I'm going to go back to some of the comments. So
Yes.
James is saying, create safe places for full expression.
Yeah. Yeah.
Step aside. Step aside. It's almost like
Yeah.
the warning you get as a heavy vehicle is reversing. It goes beep 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 beep. Everyone knows to step the hell aside because the shit's about to roll.
I love that. Step aside.
or the superhero. I'll stop this shit, and then getting
Oh my god.
God.
Oh.
Don't we all do that? Don't we all like
Oh my
take
god.
out?
How many times have you been bowled over with the shit?
Oh my God.
Stopping it, trying to stop
Yeah.
it.
Oh my God. I can handle this shit. You can't handle this shit. um
Oh, I love that, James.
yes. The Portuguese have a phrase that I love. Desmerdete, meaning get over it or yourself. And it literally translates to unshit yourself.
Mhm.
Love it. Nice learning of Portuguese, by the way, James. Very good.
Yeah.
Jay Atkinson's here saying, "Morning, ladies.
Hi,
Hey,
Jay.
Jay." That was a very sort of, "Hi, Jay," as if we're like
We're all love
sorority
and light and
sisters.
rainbows and unicorns.
um, Global Nobles is saying same, adding to that Portuguese repertoire. Check the spelling. James is saying. I'm not
Oh,
sure what that is about, but
of
don't
the
worry.
Portuguese word, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Gillian saying that poem was not easy to put into these short comments was a response suggesting that he did him a favor. Yeah. But the poem was not that easy.
I
Oh,
think she
okay.
just corrected the spelling there. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we've got another comment coming in. Yeah, Jay saying, "Wow, I love this. The most empowering thing I found is that if I drop the need to know all the semantics and just
Yes.
accept that it is what it is, I find peace." Isn't that kind and
Mhm.
calm and beautiful? James is saying, ego, ego, ego. Um, you're a braver woman than me, Louisa, that you know what is going on in the media. Actually, I don't really. I just see little snippets as I go about my life. I don't sit like Carl watches X or Twitter quite a bit. But I don't know. I pick it up just from seeing what's going on in people's Facebook feeds. I don't really look that much, but I seem to have a bit of a listening for like the shit hitting the fan, and all of a sudden I just like put my computer on and all of a sudden loads of things come up, but I don't really go actively looking for it, but it comes into my consciousness. So I obviously do have some tolerance for it. But yeah, there's just a strange energy right now.
The
It's
question is too. The question is too. Is this something I can do, like back to? Is this mine? Can I change it? Yes or
yeah.
no?
Well, that's a good question. Is this mine? Because I realize, like, is this fight mine? Is this situation mine? At some level, it is if I'm noticing it. And my response, as I think I
Do you think
noticed
it is
it.
if you're noticing it? I just
Mm,
want to challenge you on that a
well,
little bit.
okay, that's fine. I notice it, and then I realize how much I've changed. Like in the past, if I
Mm.
saw these things, I'd have been pulled this way and then pulled that
Mhm.
way. Whew. Oh my God, it's exhausting. It's like, in the Matrix where Neo's going like this, trying to avoid
Duck.
the bullet. And so it almost feels like I notice that I'm not getting pulled in, other than to notice that there is something going on that's
Okay.
trying to
Okay.
pull me in. And then I give
Right. So
myself
what
pat on
you
the
need
back
to
and
do
I
about
say,
right.
"Mm, well done
So
you."
have I got this right where you're saying what you're saying is you're noticing that you're required to stay out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I really if we were to get involved with everything that we see is wrong,
Mhm.
You're never gonna like I actually went through like a big tumble with that first couple of years of the thing that shall not be mentioned. And
Yeah.
I really was like, "What? How is this happening?
Yeah.
How is this happening? How are people allowing this?" And I really did go down so many rabbit holes, and I've talked about rabbit holes before. Um, well, you were talking about them, and I don't
Mm.
know.
Oh, I
Who
talk
knows
about them
where?
all the time.
Well, who knows where we get the information that we repeat? Like I have no
Yeah.
idea where I got this stuff. But
Mm.
anyway, rabbit holes that um, all of a sudden we go into problem solving,
Mm.
and we haven't even left the house,
Yeah.
and we're
Or even
solving
got out
like
of bed
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. We're like, you're just like, oh my God, what am I going to do about this? Like, I've got to do something
Mm.
about this. And when you can't do something about something that you're
Mm.
trying to do something about for real, you're heading down a you're heading to a dark, dark place. Because I do think the number one question is, can I actually do anything about this specific thing?
Mm.
And what can I do today that that might change everything right away, maybe with a little pebble. Like
Yeah.
I don't need to like encompass the whole world. I
Mm.
need to like look after what's in front of me, and
Mm.
then and inspire other people to do the same. And if everybody were to look after, you know, I don't do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like
Yeah.
not every problem is ours to solve. Just like if you go to i- if you go to a funeral, I'll use
Mm.
this as an example, and somebody's had, a big loss, and everybody, there is this point of view that everybody's supposed to look sad.
Mm.
They walk in but truly they're not going through the same thing as the person who's actually experiencing it. But you
Yeah,
can
so often
see,
people are actually putting on a bit of
oh
grief on.
yeah, it's like if
Yeah.
you're not crying, like why are you here?
Yeah.
Or if you're um and these are all like who knows what
Yeah.
people think. I have no idea what people think. I'm just saying, it's not my job to feel the intensity of grief that
Mm.
someone who is grieving is feeling, but
Mm.
maybe I can identify with it, or maybe I can't, but I can just be there and say I'm here. you
Mm.
know I notice it. I you know Noticing something changes it.
Yeah.
So if you notice it, and this is like quantum physics that Dan, if he was here, I would get him in on this because I've
What, the
had
double
the
slit theory?
oh yeah, like Ollie. But
You
but
notice it and all of a sudden the results change. And then when you're not
but
looking, it's like when you're looking.
but if you notice it,
Mm.
you've changed it already.
Yes.
You've already done something about it.
Yeah.
What about that? What's that feel like?
Mm.
I see you, I see you problem, or I
Mm.
see you situation.
Mm.
Um, just throwing that out there. I don't
Well,
know. Maybe it was a
we're
bit of
getting
a
a
rant.
lot. No, no, it's fine. We're getting and I didn't think it was a rant anyway. But I love that because actually for me, when you're talking about that situation that we won't talk about from a few years ago, I'm
Yeah.
guessing 3.5 years
Eh,
ago.
yeah.
Um, um, I immediately went into this cannot be happening, and oh my goodness, what do I need to do? How can I
Mhm.
help?
Mhm.
I also didn't feel very aligned to the narrative that was being
Mhm.
described or prescribed actually, feels more like it. And I was thinking, well, how can I help people whilst I don't feel in alignment with what's being said?
Right.
Or there are some bits that I align to, I want to help people and save people and help people
Yeah.
stay alive and help people stay in their relationships. And at the same time, I'm really not in alignment with a lot of
Yeah.
what's being put out there. And I went down a very deep dark hole. You're right. Like you
Mhm.
do when you're trying to help in a situation you realize you're powerless in or you feel
Mm.
powerless in. It's nothing you can do. And actually that's how this show has come about is because I got so sick of feeling like I was going this way and
Yeah.
this way. I just wanted to chat with people
Yeah.
about the sort of phenomenon of life really,
Mm.
and be able to notice things.
I love what you're doing with this show. I
Well,
love
we're
the
all
people
doing it
that
actually.
yeah, I mean, but you're creating something that is inspiring, you know.
Oh,
You inspired me to come on here and talk with you. You're inspiring anybody who's listening, and you're inspiring like it's about being inspired. If we're not inspired, how are we living? I
mm.
mean, I need to be inspired.
Yeah, I do too.
And if we can be a bright light or a little beacon for somebody to say, here's a different possibility.
Yeah,
Like, you don't have to agree with me. I
yeah,
don't need anyone to agree with me. In fact, if everybody agreed with me, it would be pretty friggin' boring.
yeah. No disrespect to you, but I
No, but
agree for me as well. I hate that.
yeah, I don't want everybody and so this is the other thing too. If you're in a situation where let's say somebody isn't agreeing with you and it's gone beyond let's say there's a polarity to the conversation
Mm,
now. It's not just simply about I don't agree with you. It's about the polarity, right and wrong. You're starting to feel upset. You know, the balance is kind of
mm,
leaving the area. Then it really becomes somebody has to be the hero here.
mm,
Somebody has to be the hero. Somebody has to bring things back into balance or at least look at it like you said when the shit's rolling downhill. How about jumping off to the side on one of these little platforms
mm.
that are along like a little rock sticking out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to go down the hill. I'm going to stand over here and
Mm,
I don't need to align and agree with this person and I don't need to resist and react. I can
mm.
receive what they're saying to me in allowance. I can be the rock in the stream or the little rock on the side of the shit hill.
Yeah,
And
the shit
I
in
can
the
just, yeah, I can observe this and I don't have to make it wrong what's going on either.
Yeah.
Because how much, if something is wrong, if we think it's wrong, then we think we have to do something about it.
Mm,
I mean, there have been things that have happened in my life that felt wrong and they are part of the story of my life and they're part of the movie of my life
mm,
and they're the reason that I am who I am right now and you can't go judging every wrong thing that happens to you because it's part of the whole movie. Nobody
yes.
has a movie where everything's like unless it's well even the Sound of Music was, you know, even the Wizard of Oz. Like all, a
Mhm.
lot of these there is there
The
can't
hero's
be
journey.
yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, people will say, "Oh, I wouldn't change it." Were there would there be some things I would change? Absolutely.
Mm,
But I won't get the opportunity for that. But what
mm.
I can change is what I'm doing right now
Yeah.
and what I'm deciding is important. Because once you figure out um, what is really important, then you can stop being annoyed by all the little things. And they're only little like, my perception of what's little and what's big is based on my experience.
Yeah.
Your perception, like I know that, you know, I had a lot of clients that would come in and talk to me, and one person would come in and they would tell me their story, and you know, another person would come in and it was like it just seems so minuscule what was upsetting this person.
Mm.
And the person with, if I were looking at their stories, the person that had the sadder story, let's say, that's another thing, the competition between like who's got the
But
saddest story.
yeah, we call it in our household, we call it, like we noticed it when we worked for a disability trust that people would play disability top trumps who had the
Right.
biggest disability card, and that translates perfectly into misery and suffering. Who has the biggest right to to suffer right now? And
Well,
then
what's going to stop
laugh over.
everyone up? Yeah,
Yeah,
let me stand on the, let me get first place medal. Like
yeah.
stick your first place medal up your arse. I don't want it.
I love how you say
I'll give
"ours."
myself a medal.
Oh, love it. No, you're right. I mean, I love that so much. I realize that a lot of things that get me hot under the collar are really, I'm very, very lucky, like totally lucky.
And getting hot under the collar is exciting.
Mhm.
Like having some fire in there where you actually can it shows, like you said this to me even, Louisa, like
Did I?
it shows that your spirit, the
Mm,
spirit of you, it's all beautiful. I love it all.
mm.
And like I said, it's just about trying not to do too much damage to
Yeah.
ourselves or to other people while we're going through this. I mean, I almost can kind of hear myself talking when it's like it's not me. If I'm really angry, it's like I hear what I'm saying right now, and I hate it so much what I'm saying right now that I can't even stop it because I'm too mad about the fact that I'm actually saying it. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
It's
Totally.
it's the shit rolling downhill big time.
Yeah.
And
Scary
where,
Sarah.
like, yeah, scary Sarah.
Mm.
I try not to be scary Sarah though.
I
I
try
really
not to
try
be,
to.
I try not to be Scary Louisa. I have to say, Carl is strangely turned on by Scary Louisa. Every now and again, he's like, "Oh, wow, I love it when you're like that."
Yeah, it shows life, spunk.
Yeah. But you know what? Like last night at 1 AM, when Carl was trying to get to sleep and we were having just like a chat. We don't normally chat. We normally like head hits pillow, but last night we were chatting in bed and then he said, "You know what? 80% of communication is actually non-verbal." I was like, "Oh, you want me to shut up, do you?" Little
Oh,
bit of
that's
spirit from
good.
him. And I said, "You know what? 80% of communication is actually rubbing your wife's back to help her fall asleep."
There you
Perfect
go.
slip. That's
Did it
very
work?
non-verbal. No, it didn't. He was really snoring through it. We got some more, comments
Oh,
coming in.
yeah. Let's see.
Um, oh god, so much. James saying, "You're bad, you're wrong, and you're evil."
Mm.
All of the above, and I'm also love and everything else.
Yes.
We all are, aren't we?
There's
Um,
nothing we can't be.
yes. Gillian said, I just love to type or speak with it without it all coming out as the shit that's rolling down the hill. It's all my fault. Haha. James is saying there's peace in letting go.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Can I
Gillian
say
saying,
something about can I
yeah,
say something about that before we go on? So that
yeah.
the piece of letting go, and I talked about this before about letting yourself off the hook
Mhm.
and letting what if I let you off the hook and you let me off the hook? What if we don't
Mm,
go into all the who's right and wrong, good and bad, and all that stuff? What if I just am too tired to, like, what if I just don't want to have this discussion anymore? Can I
yeah,
just let you off the hook and you let me off the hook? And I've used this before with something, something I thought was a big deal with Dan and I.
yeah.
And then about 4 years later, I brought it up again. And he's like, you let me off the hook. Remember? And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. And then I just dropped it.
Were you right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you did that. And I love that he held you accountable and said,
Oh, yeah, you did.
uh."
No, you let me off the hook, remember? And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I did. Okay.
And he remembered. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. I love that. Gillian is saying, often when I wake up in the morning these days, I can't see much more than shapes. And some days I can't move my hands. And I know it's all just part of what's going on, opportunities to freak out. That's really strong, Gillian.
Yeah.
Bless you, because I know you do make it out of bed. Bless you.
Mm.
Um, Jay saying, as a bona fide recovering control freak, I've worked my ass off, stepping back and relinquishing
Yes.
control. Looking into the mirror instead of the magnifying glass is so rewarding.
I
Ooh,
love that.
I do too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a meme, isn't it?
Oh,
That's amazing. Looking into the mirror instead of the magnifying glass.
I
Wow.
love that, Jay.
Thank you for that, Jay.
Yeah.
That's remarkable. Um, James saying, there is no controlling anything outside of ourselves. We control nothing but our thoughts, our words, our actions.
Mhm.
The best we have over anything outside of ourselves is influence. Notice, choose, act. My daily mantra.
Mm.
I see you is actually I see
Yeah.
me. I believe that the best influence is our example. Yep. Did someone
Good
say a
stuff.
little bacon? I have no idea what that's about.
He must be cooking you breakfast.
Are you cooking me breakfast, Carl? I'd like eggs, please. Scrambled, please. If we're not inspired, then I guess we're expired. Oh, I love that
Yes,
too. That's great.
that's fabulous.
Yes.
Yep.
Um, can I be a dung
Can I be
beetle? Is that about the shit rolling down the hill? It's not called commiseration for nothing. Um, nothing like being miserable with others.
Oh my goodness, have you seen like, you walk into a room misery really does love company.
Yeah, you
Like,
were talking about it being quite contagious, weren't you? Or you
oh,
were talking about
yeah.
something being contagious.
Well, people won't keep hanging out with you unless you're telling the same story, you're on the same
Yeah.
storyline,
Oh,
because
like men
otherwise
at a
you're gonna
pub or people at a pub,
yeah, you're
like an
gonna
old British
interfere.
pub. Everyone's like
You're gonna
drinking and
interfere with
moaning.
what their theme. It's like they have a
Yes.
theme. Every group has sort of a, um, I don't know, this is maybe a little judgmental, but I just feel like when you
Come on, do it.
if you don't agree with what's going on, like if somebody's talking about another person, let's say,
Yeah.
the highest form of whatever, a boring life,
Mhm.
you're talking about another person.
Yeah.
Um, and you don't agree. They're saying it to you because they want you to agree with them.
Mm.
They want you to align and agree with it. And if you say, well, I don't think that about that person,
Mm.
um, they might disappear. Like they might not be someone that will come. So that's a good way
Mm.
to get to remove constant, because everybody does it sometimes, right?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
sometimes it's really it's the way of being for some people.
Mm.
Um, if you want to remove them from your life, just say I don't think like that.
Mm.
Eventually they'll find somebody who will align and agree with them instead of you, you
Yeah.
know. So,
It's interesting that you said that 'cause, I can think of somebody that I had in my midst, for a while who moaned a lot about other people and their behaviors, and
mm,
I didn't think to say what I felt. I didn't agree with them, I definitely
right.
didn't. I'd say, "Oh, that's" and I started over a period of time saying, "Yeah, I don't get it like that," rather
Yeah.
than "I don't
Yeah.
agree with you."
Yeah.
Um,
That's good though.
but in the end, I like, we went our separate ways because this person just started to get really quite mad that I wasn't, like, agreeing with their
Yeah.
judgments, and I was really pleased, and I think now if somebody does it a few times to me, I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm not interested in being in your company, really."
Yeah.
Um, I'd rather
Well,
not. It's not
and
pleasant, is
and
it?
telling the truth sometimes, with kindness attached, of course, but when you're honest about something like that, it's more freeing, and it's more freeing than anything. And one thing that I learned, I don't know when it was, but if somebody's going to be upset or uncomfortable, it doesn't always need to be me, right? I
Yeah.
don't always have to choose me
Yeah.
to be the one who is upset and uncomfortable, or I don't know why we do that.
Yeah.
Like
Just wanna say good
sometimes,
I
yeah, go.
I just wanna say, goodbye to Gillian, if she's still there. She's
Oh,
just saying, "Just need to duck out, but love to you both," and everyone's still in the chat. This is so nice.
thank
It's
you,
like a
Jillian.
social club.
Yeah,
It's
I
lovely.
like that.
Have a lovely weekend, Gillian, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying there. Jay is saying, "Beacon, Mr. M, beacon." Like,
Bacon.
what was he saying?
Oh, that's about the bacon. He meant he was making a joke
Oh, did
about.
someone yeah.
Oh, okay.
Beacon.
Okay.
You're being a beacon of light.
Is it still
Um,
funny if we don't get it right away? If we only get it after
yeah,
Jay
it's
explains it
totally
to us?
it's still okay, and thank you, Jay, for explaining that. Misery loves company, but so does joy. Yes.
Yes,
And
exactly.
James is saying at Jay Atkinson, yes, our social DNA just wants to connect, and agreement is a cementing agent. Um,
Ooh,
I love
cementing.
that.
Yeah.
I think Jay said something, but I can't find it. Did I delete it accidentally? I think I did.
No.
I saw something from Jay about our social DNA and it's
Oh,
disappeared. But yeah,
oh,
basically between you and Jay, James, yeah, social DNA does just want to connect. Owen is saying, I wish you both and everyone a wonderful weekend. So everyone's
thank you.
signposting now. It's time for us to wrap
Yeah,
up.
they're kicking us off.
Thank you, Owen. Thank you. I think it's time for us to wrap up. Sarah, I've really enjoyed chatting with you.
Me
It's been
too. I've
amazing.
enjoyed it too. I just want to finish off by saying, if we decide that life is magical,
Mm,
then we're going to see magic all around us.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm going to decide that today, and I'm going to see if there's what kind of magic shows up. And I invite everybody to do the same thing.
And haven't you got a little fairy sat on your shoulder?
I do. I do. My friend Ariel made me this fairy. She's very talented. And the fairy doesn't really have a name, but she's come to Portugal with me. She was in my suitcase. She just shows up places. I never know where she's going to show up. So here she is here. She thought I
Wow.
needed her today. Yeah.
Wow. Bless her.
I don't know where she's going to show up next.
Who knows? Tune in for next episode.
Oh, this was fun.
Yeah, totally. And Jay is saying I could listen to you two all day. Love, love, love. Sarah.
Oh,
Yeah.
mwah. Love you too, Jay.
So, well, I think we're wrapping up this week. I'm it's been so great having you on because you're so clear, you're funny, and you I love what you say, like was it consciousness with kindness, or
Yeah, well,
you know,
yeah. Just
like
just
you're
it
insightful, and yet it from my perspective, everything you say is very kind as well.
Thank you. I'm trying. I, it's not always easy to be kind. It actually is easier to be kind than it is to not be kind.
Mm,
It is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think you're a very kind person.
Oh,
And I
bless you.
love that you invited me on here. I thought it was I had a good time, and I hope everybody else did too.
Sounds like it. I think they have. In fact, James is saying, "Great meeting you today. Meeting you today, Sarah. Look forward to an actual face to face." There you
Yes,
go.
I am as well, James. Yes.
Mm,
Can't wait for that.
yeah. So I'm going to wrap this up then. Thank you to everybody that's joined us today in the chat room. You've made the show as well. You've been a star.
Yeah.
And thank you for everyone that's listening in. Listen again. I know loads more people listen after the show because I'm watching the figures every day. So there's lots of people that must be lurking around, that like we don't know listen, but they love listening because they keep coming back for more. So
The
thank
lurking
you to you as
listeners.
well. Please do
Yes.
let us know who you are as well, or leave us a little comment and just say, hey, I listen too. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about as well. I'm pretty sure Sarah's going to come on again, aren't you? Sarah, you up for that?
If I am
Okay.
invited,
Of course you
if
are.
I am
So can
invited, I
say
will come on. I love getting invitations.
oh my God. Well, here's an invitation, Sarah. Jay Atkinson is saying, I would love to do a barefoot broadcast with Sarah if you're up for it.
Hell
And
yeah.
you, Louisa, of course.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Carl is actually going to do a show on the barefoot broadcast and give me the day off one day. So I know
Mm.
he's got a male guest that he wants to bring on. So
Oh.
it's getting legs now. Um,
And a penis.
yeah, yes. Oh, yeah, let's not forget about the mighty penis. But anyway, lots of love to you all, and hopefully we'll all connect again real soon. We'll be back here live on YouTube on Monday morning, and I've got Rosanna Reyes joining us. We're going to be talking about some kind of real life experience and what we've learned from our experiences and stuff. It's kind of like an intimate conversation. And if you remember, like the last time I had Rosanna on, we were talking about all sorts of different things, like homelessness and all sorts. So stay
Mhm.
tuned for Monday. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon, but have a fantastic weekend and lots of love to you. Final word,
Thanks,
Sarah.
everybody. Just go be magical and smile even when you don't feel like smiling, at least for a few minutes.
Perfect. I'll give it a go. Lots of love then. Bye.
Bye.